With Uncle Liu's words ringing in their ears, war is about to commence. The group chat descends into absolute chaos. The residents are no longer just annoyed, they are terrified. Hey, is that true? Then aren't we done for? The thin thread of hope they were holding on to has finally snapped. While the neighborhood is spiraling, we see Han Feng. He's the picture of calm, sitting comfortably in his warm room, watching the notifications scroll by. He doesn't look worried, he looks thoughtful. A war is commencing, he muses. In his previous life, he had heard about this rumor. Just as the panic reaches a crescendo, Jiang Shuiyu enters the chat. He plays the room perfectly, uses Uncle Liu's grim theory to heighten the urgency by telling the resident that if the information is true, then they need to prepare themselves. But just like Han Feng, Jiang Shuiyu isn't suffering. We see him lounging in his own warm, well-lit room, phone in hand. He isn't panicked, he's calculating. He points out the obvious. Some neighbors are already starving because they didn't prepare, and the government is nowhere to be found. His solution: socialism. I think we should start organizing ourselves, he suggests. We need to help the owners who are facing difficulties. Jiang Shuiyu doubles down on his heroic persona. By publicly offering half of his own stash, he sets a moral standard that feels more like a trap than a gift. Starting with me, he declares. Whoever needs food can come to me anytime. His message acts like a grenade in the chat. The residents explode into a frenzy of messages. Some are praising his leadership, while others are sweating, realizing the spotlight is about to turn on them. Wu Kuan-yu, the man we saw earlier being bullied while shoveling snow, decides to use this moment for a bit of revenge. He enthusiastically agrees with Jiang, but then immediately puts a target on Li Hyona, a woman who clearly has a history with him. Brother Jiang is right. We can't just let families starve, Wu types, before adding the sting. Count me in. Yona, will you be donating too? Yona isn't having it. She sees right through the heroic act and calls him out on his pettiness. She's completely annoyed, her phone practically glowing with her rage. Are you crazy, Wu Kuan-yu? She snaps. There are so many people here, yet you had to ask me. Is it because I rejected you before? Hyuna quickly shifts to playing the victim, putting on a helpless act. She quickly replied, saying that she's really sorry and doesn't even have any spare food for herself. Immediately, her fan club of male neighbors jumps to her defense, attacking Wu Kuan-yu for even asking. Seeing the tide turn against him, Wu Kuan-yu backtracks, using the lack of cooperation as an excuse to keep his own food. If we can't guarantee true unity, then I won't be donating either, he declares. The sentiment spreads like a virus. Another neighbor chimes in, capturing the cynical mood of the building. That's true. No one wants to become a sucker. The tension in the chat reaches a stalemate as the residents remain divided. But then, something shifts. Whether it's the fear of the war or the desire to look like a good person, the dominoes finally start to fall. Regarding the donation, count me in, one resident types. The momentum builds fast. It's not just food anymore. People start offering clothes and even precious medicine. For a brief moment, it looks like humanity is winning. This is exactly what Jiang Shuiyu was waiting for. He steps back into the spotlight to consolidate this newfound energy. Let me express my thanks to all of you on behalf of the owners, he says, sounding every bit like a statesman. There are quite a lot of us here. Why don't we appoint someone to take charge of this? Jiang doesn't wait for a volunteer. He immediately proposes the creation of an interim owners committee. It sounds official, safe, and necessary. He frames it as an emergency measure to handle the planning and support of donated supplies. But in reality, he's just built himself a throne. By controlling the committee, he controls the flow of every scrap of food and every pill in the building. While the neighbors are cheering for their new government, Han Feng is watching from his couch, a cold smirk on his face. He's seen this move before, and he knows how it ends. Interim committee, he thinks, scrolling through the praise. I remember this happened in my previous life too. It was never about support. It was just a scheme to legalize stealing other people's resources. 19th July, 5th day of the apocalypse. The temperature outside has already dropped to minus 40 degrees. The central heating system is no longer in working condition due to the extreme weather. Everyone is thinking of ways to keep themselves warm and maintain their body temperature. It's the same as my previous life. The situation will only continue to get worse, except for me. While the world outside is literally burning its history to stay alive, Han Feng is leaning back on his couch, a controller in his hand. He isn't fighting for his life. He's fighting fighting virtual monsters. Damn, so many zombies! The high-energy sounds of Han Feng's zombie game are suddenly cut short by the sharp, persistent ring of his smartphone. "Hello," said Han Feng after picking up. "Hello, is this Mr. Han Feng, the owner of 1801? I am the person in charge of Block 8. We will be heading down to clear the roads in 20 minutes. After you are done, please head down to the basement car park to look for me to sign the attendance." Han Feng stares at the unknown number, his face twisting into an expression of pure disbelief and annoyance. Are these people blind? It's minus 40 degrees and the snow is swallowing the city. Clear the roads? Han Feng will clear their uncle. Despite his anger, Han Feng's survival instincts kick in. He knows that if he refuses, he becomes an outlier, a person of interest for the committee. But if he plays along, there's less chance they'll wonder why he looks so healthy while they're starving. He has to keep his secrets buried, even if it means doing this nonsense. Han Feng heads down to the first-floor lobby. Dozens of residents are huddled there, clutching shovels and picks, and others digging tools. But as they look toward the glass entrance, the reality of their situation hits them. The snow has already sealed up the first-floor entrance. Damn, the paths that we cleared yesterday. I have never seen snow piled up so high in my entire life. Let's just push the door open first. As the men start to heave against the door, Han Feng tries to blend into the shadows at the back, but his physical health makes him stand out among the shivering, gaunt neighbors. One of the men near the front spots him. "Black hair brother, come give us a hand." Annoyed, but he accepts anyway. They counted to 3. Then on 3, they push the door open with all their might. The doors fly open, but the victory is short-lived. A violent, minus 40 degrees Celsius blast of wind and ice slams into the lobby, instantly blinding the residents. Yet this was only a small taste of the real snowstorm. Han Feng already knew that they would get serious frostbite if they went out in this weather. They might even die. But to blend in, he still stays with the others. Maybe not for long, because after what happened, the other residents began to realize what awaited them. The residents scramble backward, shielding their faces as the freezing wind howls through the lobby. "We will definitely get frostbite if we go out to clear the paths. With this amount of snow, you can clear your butt. Only an idiot would go out in this temperature." Amidst the panic and retreat, a loud, familiar voice booms through the lobby. "I'm here!" It's Brother Li marching toward the entrance with his usual over-the-top confidence. Han Feng watches him, half amused and half bewildered, wondering what kind of stunt the big shot is planning now. "Why is everyone acting like a coward?" he asks. "What we need is an imposing attitude." The neighbors try to pull him back, terrified for his life. "Brother, don't try to be brave. This isn't a game." "That's right. Let's wait for the snow to stop first." But Brother Li doesn't listen. He takes a massive, dramatic drag on his cigarette and lets out a primal roar. Like a madman, he dives headfirst into the wall of snow, digging like a crazed badger. For a few seconds, all the residents see is a blur of motion and flying ice. Then silence. The white abyss swallows him whole. He is gone. The silence lasts only a heartbeat before the screams begin. "Help! Help me! Help me! Help!" The residents rush forward, grabbing him and hauling him back into the lobby like a frozen tuna. They slam the doors shut, sealing out the wind. Brother Li collapses on the floor, coughing violently. His skin is already turning a sickly, pale purple. He went out as a lion and came back a popsicle. Han Feng tries to wake Brother Li, but there is no answer. Brother Li's eyes are wide and blank, staring at nothing. The cold has shocked his system into silence. Seeing that the road clearing is a lost cause, Han Feng takes charge to keep the group moving. "Everyone, let's go to the car park to look for the person in charge and sign our attendance first. We can decide what to do when the snow stops. With this snowstorm, it's no longer a situation that can be solved with manpower." The scene shifts to the basement car park. The dim, flickering lights and concrete walls create a grim, bunker-like atmosphere. In the center of the gloom stands a crowd gathered around one man, Zhang Shuiyu. The snow is indeed too heavy right now. Let's wait for the snow to lighten up before we start clearing. Also, the basement car park will be designated as the donation and collection point of resources. Standing at the back of the crowd, Han Feng narrows his eyes, observing the man at the center of the circle. Is he the one with the surname Jiang in the group? So he is the one that spearheaded the establishment of that scam committee. Jiang Shuiyu continues his performance, his voice echoing with practiced warmth through the cold concrete. concrete. Once again, thank you everyone for your support. I really did not expect so many owners to be willing to donate their resources. Your generous donations will help even more owners who are in a difficult situation. I once again thank all of you in their place. The crowd eats it up. The fear of the war and the cold has made them desperate for a leader, and Zhang is giving them exactly what they want to hear. Everyone faces difficulties at one point or another. It's only right for us to help each other. As long as we are united, I believe we will be able to get through this crisis together. Han Feng looks at the neighbors celebrate their unity with a look of pity and cold detachment. He knows the math of the apocalypse. The more people you try to save, the faster the resources vanish, and the snowstorm is not expected to let up anytime soon. Brother Lee, still visibly blue and vibrating from his near-death experience in the snow, has finally had enough. He's done with imposing attitudes for the day. Little brother, I'm heading up first. As Han Feng turns to leave, something catches his eye. Amidst the crowd of desperate, shivering residents, someone is moving with a sense of purpose. Though they're struggling under a massive load, it's the nurse who treated Han Feng's leg. She's carrying a precarious stack of boxes, likely medical supplies or food for the donation point, and is trying to navigate the packed car park. The girl is so focused on balancing the boxes that she doesn't see the person right in front of her. She trips. Her balance shatters. Before she can hit the cold concrete, Han Feng moves, catches her with one arm, and steadies the boxes with the other, preventing her from falling. Are you okay? She keeps her eyes closed, her face flushing bright red from the sudden proximity and embarrassment. As she gathers her senses, the nurse recognizes him, but as a medical professional, she immediately notices something that no one else has. Han Feng isn't limping. He isn't favoring his leg. He's standing perfectly stable. She knows better than anyone that his injury should have taken weeks, if not months, to recover. She asks him anyway if his leg has recovered yet. The cleanup mission ended in a bitter failure, but the neighbors continue to share their resources through the committee. Meanwhile, Han Feng runs into an acquaintance who is intrigued by his recovery. What will he do? Will he also share his resources? And what about his healing power? Has he inadvertently revealed it? Find out in the next episode. This is the end of this chapter. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe. Have a nice day.